you are literally wasting your life. Did you know that for the entire duration of your life, you've lived in a time of a global pandemic? And it's not the same kind of pandemic as what we had in 2020 with COVID-19. Oh no, this one is a lot more dangerous. It's a lot more subtle because you don't experience the symptoms the same way that you would experience COVID when you're coughing and you can't breathe, you go to the hospital and yada yada yada. This pandemic is dangerous because the symptoms seem to be extremely normal. Everybody thinks it's okay to have these symptoms. This is the pandemic of a man who has no purpose in life. Every single time you spend hours and hours on end playing video games like World of Warcraft and League of Legends and Call of Duty with your so-called virtual buddies, or every time you binge drink the whole weekend and then you lay in your bed the next day completely immobile because of how hungover you are, no matter how much Motrin you take, or every single time you spend hours on end smoking weed and then your brain completely turning off. You can't do anything all day because you're so high. Or also when you are spending all day watching sports with your so-called friends once again and drinking beers. All of these times you're experiencing the symptoms of this so-called pandemic. And unlike the COVID pandemic, this pandemic does not have a free vaccine that you can just go to your local pharmacy and get. But you may be asking, why is everybody not realizing that these symptoms are so bad and are actually hurting them if that is the case? Well, let me tell you, because the majority of guys have those symptoms. This is the life that they live. And for that reason, it seems like it's normal. I'll give you an analogy, okay? If your car has an oil leak, right? It's leaking oil, but your friends' cars don't have oil leaks, then you know that your car has a problem and now you have to go to the shop and you have to fix it, right? But if 99% of the cars on this planet have had oil leaks for decades and suddenly your car now has an oil leak too, then you're gonna be like, oh wait, everybody else's car is leaking too, so oil leaks are normal, right? So the fact that my car is leaking is actually perfectly okay. I don't really have to do anything about it. It's normal. Maybe this oil leak is going to be very small, but over time, your car is going to overheat and eventually break down once the oil runs out. Even though, potentially, it may not have that many miles on it. You have to understand, your meaningful mission, your deepest truth, is what makes you a man. And every single time you are engaging in those wasteful activities like video gaming for hours and hours on end, or binge drinking, or smoking weed, or whatever else it is that you're doing to fill time and boredom, you are literally leaking oil out of your life. Okay? I'm not saying that engaging in those activities is bad all the time. Okay? If you're using those activities as a way for you to relax or decompress, and you're doing them occasionally as a means of recovery, it's fine. I'm talking about the guys that spend the entire day doing those things. You have to understand that as a man, you have a unique gift. For somebody, this gift is becoming the next great inventor, or maybe raising chickens on a freaking farm, or maybe it is giving people tough love. Whatever it is, you have a gift. Every single person has one. You may not know necessarily what your current gift is, and this is part of the journey of a man's self-discovery. But if you're not in the process of discovering and then subsequently fulfilling your mission in life, you are literally depriving the universe of the unique gift that you are given and compromising the evolution of the human species. Because every man's fulfilled mission adds up to the overall contribution of what moves our species forward. Every man's fulfilled purpose is going to leave a legacy that the future generations, including your own children, are going to learn from, draw from, and improve on over time. And because your buddies are doing it, does not mean that you should be doing it. It is not normal for you to be the same if everybody around you is sick or leaking oil out of their life, whatever the heck you want to call it. But the question you may now ask is, how do I discover my true purpose? I can make and I will make a whole separate video on this topic, but the gist of it is that you just really have to try things out. What sparks a deep curiosity in your life? Not some kind of activity that you do just to fill time, like playing League of Legends for 6 hours straight, but what really interests you. There is something that always interests all of us at a very deep level. Right? For me, for example, my very first interest was engineering. Read books, ask questions, watch videos, get an internship at a relevant company. There are so many different ways for you to gain this knowledge. You don't even have to go to college anymore. You can literally sit in your room and educate yourself on all these different things. And as you become an expert in this field and you will start applying this knowledge, it's very possible that you will discover that you don't really get fulfillment from that activity anymore. And realize that for you as a man, that is okay. That is the process of the constant rediscovery of your deepest purpose and mission is in your life. And as you go through these layers and layers of rediscovery, you will get closer and closer to this eventual deep truth of your existence. I also understand that the reason why you might be participating in these wasteful activities is not necessarily because your friends are doing it or people around you are doing them, but also because of some kind of painful event that happened to you in your own personal life. And now you potentially want to numb this pain by performing in these so-called coping mechanisms, just so you don't have to think about this pain anymore. And I totally understand that. I'll give you an example. In 2019, I was diagnosed with type 1 late onset diabetes. My whole life just went completely upside down. Completely. I did not know how I'm going to continue living because I was basically diagnosed as somebody who is disabled. That's what I thought, and that's what people around me made me think. But eventually I realized that my diabetes is actually the biggest blessing that I could ever receive on this earth. Because through this diabetes, I learned that my mission in life is to inspire others that it's possible to live your best life against all odds. I'm so grateful for my diabetes because it allowed me to really uncover my deep truth, who I am, what I'm meant to do. And regardless of what this is for you, whether you have to discover your purpose yourself, or maybe the universe is going to send you some kind of sign, maybe in the form of a painful event, you cannot spit the universe in the face and say that you're not going to fulfill your mission going forward, that you would rather spend your life doing those wasteful activities. Because doing that would be the most unforgivable crime. A crime that you commit literally against your own spirit. Thank you guys. I will see you in the next video. Keep improving. Keep getting better. Find your mission.